This episode is sponsored by Apple Pay.
I'm happy to see you again. Thanks for asking me to do this.
You too. Thank you for the nicety. You just took the time because I'm nervous. But
I can't. I don't know you as nervous at all.
You know,
this is you. Every time I see you in public at these events, you have really good posture, and you're just friendly to everyone. Everyone seems to know you. Oh yeah, or everybody knows your name. But like, there's like, you never do seem like you have anxiety. Or like, to me, you seem to be saying, this is where I'm meant to be.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I'm going to keep that phrase in my head the next time I go in public. Are you an anxious person?
No.
No. That's funny.
Yeah.
You look like you should be an anxious person and you're not. And
no, I don't really have anxiety. With social things and performance and stuff like that.
Your life.
My life, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I'm a little bit of a loner. Like I do like alone time. I do like, I don't really go out. Like I don't seek out parties and stuff like that. I'm not like that social. But, so it's like a mix of like, I don't have anxiety, but also like I like a nice night at home.
I think that's why I like this so much doing a podcast, because I am not the guy who would go, oh, let's go have a beer.
Same.
I will always say, that sounds fantastic. I will catch up with you.
Yep.
And don't.
Same.
So now I have an excuse, as if we sat down in the corner of some party and talked for an hour.
Yep.
It is a privilege. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Whenever there's like, we're going to this other thing after, I'm always done. I'm like, no, this was our dinner. This was our...
Yeah.
I don't need a second.
I was kind of famous on Cheers for saying, oh, I'll catch up. Absolutely.
Really?
Sounds great. And Woody would roll his eyes because I would never show up.
You guys like that. Everyone from that show went, why am I retelling your career? But but everyone on that show, what a strange thing that like everyone really turned out to have.
They did.
Great careers. And I don't think every TV show is like that, where that's the sort of peak of it, for them. But you guys, it's like...
Good writing. I think if you have really, really, really good writing, and it isn't just a pop fad of the moment, you stand a better chance, at least, of going on. Woody's gone on so much and makes so many wonderful movies that I've taken to just watching his films on my cell phone because I feel like it is my way of controlling his fame.
Yeah. So he really just eases into all these incredible movies and
he's a really good actor
and stuff. We love you, Woody, wherever you are.
Sometimes. That's the key word there. Sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so this morning with Mary, I watched Skip Gates.
Okay. Yes.
Finding Your Roots.
Yeah.
And Mary and I both did it at different times.
That's right.
And it is an amazing experience because you can hear about somebody can tell you about your ancestors, or you can read something or whatever. But when somebody places you there with photographs and letters and documents, wasn't it for you extraordinary? I know you can tell that story of learning something you didn't know about your heritage.
But still, that moment, I think also, by the way, we might have been on the same season.
I think so.
I have like a vague recollection of like, as they were rolling out the people who are on the show, you guys being, I think. But
finding your roots. Sorry, is Skip Gates and Harvard, bless their hearts, Harvard, smart people looking up every kind of documentary. If there's a paper trail for your ancestry, they will find it. Then they create a book for you to open and read on camera, and he talks to you about your life.
And the session, the show is only an hour or whatever, but like the session is like 4 hours of them unfolding these things in front of you. And, they do like a year's worth of research, and they really research. And I asked them, I was like, how do you guys do it? It can't just be, internet sleuthing. And one of the keys they said was church records, that religious organizations keep good records on. But it was incredible.
Real estate, any kind of deed, anything.
School record. And school records is how they figured out that my grandfather wasn't Japanese. He's Korean.
And this was total news to you.
Total news to me.
I mean, I saw it on your face. It was like...
to the point where I had gone through my life saying, hey, I'm a quarter Japanese. And I adopted some of the personality traits of what I thought Japanese was. Like, well, I like my food this way. And, I have this sense of design, which in my mind, I was like, I think it's because I'm part Japanese. And it wasn't the case at all. And the reason my grandfather, I guess, faked being Japanese is that they had racism.
Living in Japan.
Educated in Japan, but Koreans would educate their kids, or rich Koreans, in Japan, but there was racism against Koreans. So,
and it became horrendously violent.
Yep. Yeah.
And which made him switch.
Oh yeah, as a sense of survival.
Yeah.
I'm Japanese. This is my name, and
you knew that he was went on to become a famous dancer.
Yeah.
He knew all about
all that stuff. We knew.
Yeah.
Choreographer, dancer, and avant-garde dancing, which is like, for the time, I keep thinking avant-garde is invented in the 70s or 60s, but it's incredible that way back then, that's what he was doing.
In the 20s or 30s, was it?
Yeah. Well, he was doing it in the 40s, 30s and 40s.
And then came here to teach at Cal State Fullerton or something like that, somewhere.
Yeah. But then was here for a while and traveled all over. He had kids all over Europe, including my dad, and, traveled all over the place.
So your dad was...
German. So he was raised German.
Raised German.
Mm-hmm.
Knew his father, though.
Barely.
Barely.
Yeah.
I see. Had
so
a child
that guy
and moved on.
Yep. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he was raised by his mother, but he didn't really know his dad. He kind of knew who he was, but didn't get to know him.
So did anything change once you went, oh, wait, my history's a little different than I thought it was?
Yeah.
For you?
The things that changed for me were, like I said, the fake sense of being something just because you've got it in your head that you're genetically something. But also, as far as like education and knowing history, it didn't occur to me that there was racism against Koreans in Japan. And I know it's documented. I know it's in history books, but like, I was like, there's so much I don't know. For all I know, I would have thought that everything was just peaceful and wonderful between the two countries, and just that, I feel like sometimes things like that seem so specific to like Europe and America. Right. And I'm like, of course that happens all over the world. So there was that too. It was like a little bit of an awakening of that. Also of Korea, like I think I didn't think enough about, I've got to like get out there and I want to travel there and get to know it.
Have you?
I haven't yet, no, but I want to.
That's the neat thing, I think, of what Skip does. History can be very dry and you go, it's intellectual or something. But when you place a relative in a historical setting, all of a sudden you are really interested in that period and what was going on. I found.
That's that's so well said that I wish I had said it that way.
Go ahead. We can edit. We can.
but it's true. That's exactly it. Where you read, I think you read history and it kind of goes through you.
Yeah.
No, I understand that was a hard time. That sounds like a terrible, terrible war. But you're right. As soon as it's like part of your own history, you're like, wait, explain again what that was. What was it about your history?
Well, I have a family. My nephew is his life is about his heritage and where he came from. And he literally knew everything that Skip Gates and all of the, researchers came up with. I have always gone yama, yama, yama when he's talking. I'm sorry, Eric. but it's not my fascination. So I heard things through Skip viscerally and differently.
Yeah.
But he kind of knew it. So I knew a great deal about it. But the thing that really landed, and now I'm going to blank on her name, but she was Anne very good, Hutchinson. She,
He did not look that up. I think he just said it.
He's fascinated by my past.
Oh my God.
That was good, man. That was good. But she, Puritan early days in America, colonies, she started preaching within her house. Women were not allowed to do anything, touch religion in any way other than, yes sir, no sir kind of thing. She would teach to a small group of people her interpretation, which was, you don't need a church or a priest. God is available. Your relationship is with God. You don't need an intermediary. Well, that got into a lot of trouble. And the reason why we could trace our heritage back that far was because the governor of Massachusetts served as the judge for her trial. And once you
she went to trial for this?
Yes, and her mistake was she started eviscerating all the people who were trying her. Rightfully so, but nevertheless, not a great idea.
But not playing the game of like...
Right. So she was exiled to kind of the outskirts of civilization as we knew it back then. And was
in what state?
He was the governor of Massachusetts. I don't know where she ended up, but west, where there were tribes that were still very actively trying to get rid of us. And at some point, a tribe that she had befriended, or they befriended her, said, you need to leave right now. There is going to be an uprising and you will not be safe. And she said, oh, nonsense. I'll be fine. And she wasn't. So there was hubris there. But she was this remarkable woman that I kind of see a little bit in my mother, and my sister, maybe my, sense of what it's like to be a woman, or my willingness to learn that I don't know what it's like to be a woman, or whatever. I feel like that kind of trickled down.
So she is in your lineage?
Yeah. My mom's side.
Wow.
No, my father's side. Forgive me.
Yeah.
Naturally, it's my father's side.
Yeah.
Not my mother. Sorry.
Wow. They were like,
yeah.
Hey, something's going to go down. You should take off. And she was like,
I shouldn't. I'm rambling, and this is your time. But
anyway, okay.
But you are on TV while you.
I didn't mean to. I feel bad that I diverted a lot, but I was just interested in. We've had the same experience. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I won't. I'll let Mary tell you.
Okay.
Someday her story. But all right, that's you, kind of.
Yeah.
And you had this kind of, maybe exotic's the wrong word, but you were exposed to a lot of different cultures, or at least the possibility of coming from different cultures.
Yeah. That's
informed you, I'm assuming. And then along comes drums. And I tell me how that happens, because that seems to be was that your first, I want to be a creative soul?
Yeah. Immediately. And it could be, my mom's Venezuelan and my dad's German, but we lived in Brazil for a little while. And Brazil is where I first saw drums. They had these sort of samba parades, or they call them samba schools. And I was a kid, but I remember being drawn to seeing it's all percussion. The whole parade is percussion. Surdos and panderas and I, even as a kid, was really hypnotized by it. And then we're an American family. We also would go to like Disneyland on trips, and then even there'd be some little jazz combo or something, and then I would
age what
8, and then I'd be I'd see whatever, a little ragtime band, and the drummer, my eyes would always focus on that. So somewhere in there, that's.
And you asked, "Can I have a drum set?"
Yes, I remember. They also bought me Beatles albums, and I remember hearing "I Am the Walrus," and there's a drum intro to it that I just was like, that is what I want to do, and I still feel that way. That hasn't left me. Like, I still hear drums and go, "Oh, that's what I want to do." I love it. I love it. They look great. They sound great. There's something about the way people look when they're playing drums that I like for the most part.
And you really are controlling a great deal of the rest of the music that comes out of all the other instruments. I mean,
yeah.
Right? I mean, you are literally setting the beat.
Yeah. And at the same time, you're sort of behind the rest of the group, like you're seated. So it's just like distant, there's like a distant, you're sort of controlling everything, but you're not the lead singer. So there's something about that I like as well. So it's not showy in the same way.
Right.
I guess it is showy that there's like cymbals and stuff, but it's not like, it's just like not like being at the front.
Did you have heroes or people you looked up to who were drummers?
Oh.
Who were the early ones?
Still. I mean, I first loved Keith Moon and Ringo, of course. Loved Ringo. And then from there, it went on to, as I got older, the drummer for Devo, Alan Myers, drummer for Blondie, Talking Heads, all those bands I sort of like, I started to gravitate towards that. But the first drummer that I was like, oh, I want to be like him was Keith Moon. And I still look at pictures of Keith Moon and I'm like, I want to disappear into the picture. Like, what's going on there? Because he was so just theatrical and funny. He seemed like a funny person.
How's your body as a result of being a drummer for so long? Because it does, in some cases, take it out of you.
Yeah. It affects your hearing because cymbals are like right here. And when you're in your 20s, you bang away at them so much and it doesn't occur to you, or to me, wear earplugs. You're just like, what? I'm 20,
Yeah.
And they are such a shrill sound that they really cut into your hearing. And then now, sometimes when I'm going to sleep, I'll hear like a little tinnitus. And then carrying drums around, I think really does your back
The
end.
whole kit, you mean? Or
yeah, because you have to, there's hardware for it.
Yeah.
And, in your 20s, okay, you're lifting stuff up and down the stairs, but then your 30s, you're still kind of doing it. And it's one of those things that like, I think it affects it doesn't make you stronger. Like I get good at lifting cases. It just actually makes your back resent it. So now anything I've got to pick up, like suitcases, my back's like, we did that already. We're done. Don't attempt it. So that's where I feel it the most is back and ears. Ears killed me. Really, really got me.
I remember one of the first times. Music, I have a bizarre relationship, meaning I thoroughly enjoy it when I'm listening to it, and it can be as diverse, pretty much. And I cannot tell you a lyric, because what happens to me is I immediately go into some fantasy land. I go into some place, which is great. I mean, how wonderful for music. But I cannot tell you who played what and saying what words. Till Mary came along, now I'm starting to listen to lyrics because she's a songwriter now. But back then, I think one of the first drum solos that I went, oh, wait a minute, was Seal, Gotta Get a Little Crazy. There's a drum thing after that, after about the third chorus.
Yeah.
It just was like, whoa.
I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's a good one to pick. Most people pick like some classic
Phil
rock one. Yeah. But I'm like, oh yeah,
yeah.
Seal. But Seal is great. He has great intros to everything. Wow, Seal. Now I want to go listen to that again.
Phil Collins, who's now slightly related because Mary's son is married to Phil's daughter, Lily.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we have a drummer in our family, yes.
Yeah, that's your family now.
Yeah.
But about lyrics, I'm pretty much the same, where I also go off into fantasy land and I just, my imagination goes. And the reason I notice it is because other people will tell me about how much they love a lyric. And I'm like, oh, I never even thought about what they were saying. The only lyrics that work on me is anything that's repeated. If something's repeated over and over, then I'm like, oh, I love that.
I love Roxanne.
Yeah. Great. Keep it going. But then otherwise, it just kind of like, it's almost like an instrument and I don't hear the specifics of it.
Right.
And then someone has to explain it to me. I don't know why that is. Some people really hook onto it.
So now you're 8, 9, 10, and you're drumming.
Yeah. My parents, God bless them.
God bless them, because that's a tough. Yes, you can have a drum kit.
That's a tough one. It's loud.
Yeah. Where did you play? In your room?
Up in my room.
Yeah.
In a little suburban house. But for the purposes of this podcast, I want to make it seem like I lived in a mansion.
We'll throw up some.
Yeah, just something
photos.
like.
Yeah.
So we had our own recording studio. It's not the truth, but we had multiple studios that they had built for me, because I'm so ashamed.
So sweet.
I'm so ashamed of being middle class. Like, that's so humiliating. So yeah, they got me drums, and I kept going. I took lessons and really learned.
But you're just kind of this isolated drummer in your room.
Yeah.
When did it break out to, let me be part of a group? Or
early on. Like, because I had friends, by luck. One friend who played guitar, another friend who played guitar. And it's so funny being so young, and you don't even have ambition. You're not like, hey, we got to form a band.
Right.
It's just, they come over with their amp, and as much as it sounds like a joke, like, I think our amps are from like the Sears catalog, like a Sears guitar, which weren't bad. They were fine for kids. And then we'd all get together and play. I don't even know what we played, but it was just, we didn't have a name or anything. Just all of us just, but then turning into a teenager, that's when you're like, okay, now here's another friend, and we're gonna, here's a bass player. That's when it gets different.
And you see other people roughly your age actually starting to get out in the world.
Yep.
So let's do it.
Let's do it. And then there's also those friends who are like, that's not cool. This is cool. So you start to have you start to have sort of like your own lane that's really strict. So like, we're not a heavy metal band. We're this band. And then I think all friends do that anyway. Like, that's cool. That's not cool.
Sure.
And then other friends introducing me to new kinds of records and stuff. So it was very exciting. I loved it.
And is Funny Fred showing up yet, or no? This is
not. Yes, amongst friends, like we all made each other laugh. Always a part of our lives. Loved watching SNL. Loved watching SCTV. We were like into all the sketch shows. Fridays, I remember we watched. And then, but not as a career. It was just like, let's be a band. Although a lot of the bands I liked had a sort of comedic quality, like Devo and Talking Heads had a sort of, not comedy, but something quirky and observational about it that I liked. Yeah.
And then you moved, right? To be part of a band? Or is that
Well, I went to college.
Still not standing up and being funny?
No. Zero. Like, went to college and then moved to Chicago. And then I was in my 20s, and then I was in a band with good friends.
The real deal.
The real deal. That's like, now we're going to go on tour. Now let's really try our best. And
reviews, all of the above, or just packing? Was it pre-reviews, or?
It was just very like, we toured all the time in punk rock circles, and it depends on how I look at it. Some days I go, not enough people came to our shows, but then I'm like, well, we toured, we did okay.
Yeah.
So not enough to make a living, but enough that we'd stay on the road for a while. We met some great people. So that was the first sort of professional, like, okay, now this is what I'm trying to do. And then that band broke up, and I auditioned for Blue Man Group. Blue Man Group was in Chicago, and
Is this pre-New York? They're in New York?
First they were in New York, and then they opened a franchise, like a version in Chicago. I auditioned for that, and then I was one of the drummers. They had a rotating band, and then that was my first paycheck. I would say that's my first showbiz paycheck, was being in playing for Blue Man Group.
And you just answered an ad?
Yep. How funny. I was almost, that sounded antiquated, and then I'm like, no, that is what happened. For some reason in my head, I was like, no, it must have been something online. There was no online. Yeah. It was 1997 or something. Or there was no, online wasn't in my life. But yeah, answered an ad, audition, and there I was. And it changed my life. That was my first version of seeing that entertainment can actually be something you can be in business.
And you're watching very unique and funny skits or whatever you call it, performances, Blue Man Group, right? Mm-hmm. So you're getting a dash of funny while you're the drummer. When you say backup drummer, they would do these things where they would hit the drums. The one I saw, and they had liquid coming up or something, and they'd send it, and the lights were amazing. And were you backing them? When you say backup, were you?
So yeah, in a sense, like above the stage, lit by black light, would be a band, a trio, drummer, zither player, and something called a stick, a Chapman stick.
Bass-like?
A version, like a bass-like instrument. And we were above the stage playing along with the Blue Man. So that's what that was.
Yeah.
And when I say rotating, is there were different fill-in musicians per show. So I would play like 2 shows a week. And I remember I made $100 a show, and $100 was like $1 million to me.
My first was 125, and it was
right. You couldn't believe it.
No,
you looked at it like I just got a paycheck. All I was used to was like restaurant, tips or whatever. To see something for playing the drums was, and like you said, the Blue Men, they're kind of avant-garde. That's like experimental theater in a way, but it was still popular. So I learned a lot from that.
I took my first $125 check, went to a bank to get a credit card.
Wait.
Laughed out of there. Laughed out.
You were like, so you deposited it?
No, I just said I was no longer the out-of-work actor. I'm now a hired working actor.
So can I get
off
a credit
Broadway,
card?
And I would like a credit card, please. No,
and they said
fun.
no.
Oh, yes. All right, full disclosure. My cousin was a vice president 2 floors up. This was Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
Uh-huh.
And he used to get so upset that I would show up in my out-of-work actor's clothes, and he had to dress in a suit and all of that. And he'd say, please don't come up and visit me. Please don't. But I turned to the guy who said no credit card, said, oh, by the way, my cousin Danny is the vice president upstairs. And I got a credit card. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, now I feel like credit card companies
yes,
they really are like, yes,
you're going to go into debt here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those early checks, God.
Okay, take me from music to, oh, wait, I'm funny.
Well, it was a strange thing. I was in this band. We broke up. I was in Blue Man Group, and I felt I wasn't like the rock star I wanted to be. I was like, I set out to really, to be in a famous band. So I felt a little disappointed. And my wife at the time, who was from England, introduced me to like British comedy. She's all these shows that we had on VHS and stuff. And there was something about it I really like. I know it's such a cool thing to say, like, hey, only British, but she's from England. And I did this thing where I just bought a video camera and I went to this music festival in 1998 and I interviewed bands as different characters. Who knows why? As an exercise, And something about the tape that I made the rounds. It was like...
Did you edit it?
A friend of mine edited it. In fact, a friend of mine who I didn't know very well, just this guy was like, hey, I'll edit it. So wherever you are, thank you for doing that. And...
Were we analog?
Yeah. Analog, videotape. Or it was like high 8.
Right.
But I made VHS copies and I sort of gave them out as a sort of, here's something.
Was it in Austin? Where was it? No.
Austin was the festival, but I was living in Chicago.
But so you went down.
Mm-hmm. And this festival is
that was bold. That costs money to go try your
I was already
craft.
going to play with other bands. I was a fill-in drummer for a couple bands, and they were like, I was like, okay, I'll go down and play. There are some conferences and some talks that they're doing why don't I go in and just sort of, interview people just as a joke. And that video made the rounds. And that video is what set me off to doing comedy. It's been nonstop.
Who saw it that it gave you feedback? Or did it go on? Did it? No. Online. There was no online, but what?
There was no online, but there was a gentleman named Will Arnett at Warner Brothers Records, who was a co-producer of a music show on HBO called Reverb. And he's like, "Oh, you'd be perfect to do little interstitials on that." And then I did that as a gig. So same kind of paycheck thing. Where I was like, "Wow, they're paying me to do this thing. I'll do it." And it just kept going.
And were you deadpan kind of?
Yeah.
You have to figure out that this was
yes. Me doing characters
funny.
And
you didn't offend the band you were interviewing or the whoever.
No, I pretended to be German or deaf. I just pretended to be different or blind. I remember once, just like, but the questions were never really, from what I remember, really making fun of the band. It wasn't that kind of thing. It was more like I try to get their sympathy in a way.
Right.
And and it just
is that still to be had?
Oh,
can you find it somewhere?
Oh yeah. I think it's out there. It's, Fred Armisen's Guide to Music and South by Southwest, 1998. And from there, from that HBO thing, I moved to LA. I was in Chicago, and then I started doing stand up at Largo.
Great.
And from there,
wait, now there's still a difference between having a kind of funny character and doing interviews. Did you sit in a room and just start writing your stand-up?
It was more that I wanted to do it. So I was like, oh, what can I do? I could do a character on stage. It was more like, and Largo was perfect because there'd be all these comedians. And I thought, where do I fit? How can I do something that's like a little different? Because I don't have the gift of, telling those kinds of jokes. So I was like, I could be a character and fool people for a little while, and that'll be part of the show. This is around 2000, and Bob Odenkirk was there, and I became friendly with him, and he put me on a pilot of a sketch show he was doing called Next, and that became like a more of an official entryway where I had things that I could send out as clips for like auditioning for SNL. So very quickly, with people's help, is how I got to SNL. So I was doing comedy, but...
And was it a just pure light bulb? This is it. Oh, I want to be here.
It was such a fast light bulb that I didn't even have time to observe it. Before I knew it, that's all I was doing. I was just like saying yes to gigs, and I was on Bob's... Bob really... He plucked me from Largo and put me on TV.
I forget that he was stand-up. Yeah, I always think of him in these incredibly dramatic...
Oh my God. He was like... him and David, doing Mr. Show was like the show. That was like the sketch show to, rise up to. They were like, the centerpiece in a way.
Very cool.
At the time, yeah.
And then comes Saturday Night Live.
Yep. And then I had enough tape to send to Saturday Night Live and auditioned for them. And Marcy Klein showed my tape to Lorne. And, all the way through, it was just like quick doors opening. And my first TV show that I was on was Conan O'Brien. So
we're all here.
We're all here.
We're all here.
And here we
are.
are.
Conan.
And Paula Davis, who's in the other room, she's the one who saw me at a comedy festival and put me on Conan's show. So
much later. After
no, this is during the same time.
During the same time. Oh, yep. Wow.
So that's,
were we on Conan the same? No, I think, was he doing in the year
Yeah. It was that.
Yeah, I did a couple of those.
Yeah.
Felt honored.
Yeah, it was great. I love that show.
Yeah.
But Paula Davis, same thing. All these,
Thank you, Paula Davis.
Thank you, Paula. Oh, but she knows it. I've talked to her so much about it. I think she's tired of me saying to her, like, she put me on TV. She really, that was my first network, and the light bulb moment, like when I was doing it, I remember thinking, oh, I love this. when the cameras were on and stuff. I loved it. I really did.
Who was there when you first arrived at Saturday Night Live?
When I first got there, I joined with Will Forte. We were the two new guys, just the two of us. So we got to experience that together. And then we were like low on the totem pole where the stars, as it were Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey, Jimmy Fallon, Chris Kattan. And I think Chris and Tracy Morgan were just finishing. I think they were finishing. I think Jimmy was finishing too.
Yeah.
And so they made us feel very welcome, but they were sort of like onto their careers.
Right.
And then as we stayed, the cast changed. But it was great. I mean, those are all still friends of mine.
Will Forte.
Will Forte.
One of my favorite people and
he's
great
incredible.
friend. Yeah.
He's
never thought he would get married and have children, and he is so happily married and so happily a dad.
Yeah. But he's organized in a way that I could see him being thorough.
Well, isn't that kind of a nice way to say totally 100% compulsive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like people have said to me, I think he's got to shake hands with everyone before. It's something he hasn't.
No, there's ritual.
And I thought, that's not real. I noticed that he's, but then sure enough, as I was watching, I was like, I think he does. But it's nice though, because sometimes
it's nice. They make you feel good, rituals.
Always. And when it's that attention comes my way, I'm like, that's great. That Will's like, I'll see you tomorrow. Or,
I think he early on found out that Mary has the sense of humor of a 9-year-old boy. Mm-hmm. So one of his rituals was to come up and fart in the morning, audibly, so that she could have this wonderful, pretend, shocked, horrified reaction.
And where? On set or
on set? This is while he was doing Last Man on Earth.
God, that was such a great show altogether.
You were on it playing a cannibal. And,
yeah.
And you were setting up, grooming my wife, Mary, to be your next meal.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah.
And you were pretending to be an artist, a painter?
Yes, pretending to be, because then the art itself was terrible.
Right. But Will decided to paint for you the picture of Mary that you were supposedly painting.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying. And it's in our little mini gym that we have at home hanging on the wall because we couldn't get rid of it, but we couldn't really allow it in the house. It was so horrifying.
It looked like a potato person or something.
With shocking red short hair.
Just like so terrible. No, I'm so glad I got to experience that with him.
Yeah.
It's great. And then also I love that we just pop up in each other's lives still.
And Bill Hader too.
Yep.
Who I had the pleasure of talking with here. And John Mulaney, who we recently talked to here.
Lifelong
you guys
friends.
Are great buddies.
Oh yeah. But we see each other frequently. It's the best. It's a nice surprise in life, that like you work with people and you think, well, hopefully we'll stay in touch. And then, we really, really stayed in touch. It's the best.
That's so cool.
And it's
you're not all the same either. You're all incredibly bright and love funny and know how to do it. But it's all a little bit different slice. It's funny that you're not.
Yeah. Now that you're saying it, I was just picturing everyone's personality, and you're right about that. But but there is that shared, when someone wants to do a bit or a joke or whatever, that we're totally in line with.
Yeah.
That's never have we been like, no, now's not the time to joke, or like, what? It's always fine-tuned. I know when one of them, is joking and that's the best.
How did Portlandia come to be? How did that?
Well, Portlandia
because that's full-fledged write scripts.
Yeah. That's its own thing.
Writer's room? Did you have a writer's room?
Yeah, we sure did.
The
whole deal.
Was that coming from your brain? Did you do this?
Oh no, it was me.
Oh, really?
Me, in combination with other people, but it was me and Carrie Brownstein.
Carrie, who's magnificent,
genius.
Yeah,
she's like
so good.
She's so great, and she was or is in a band my favorite band, Sleater Kinney. And we were friends. We had some mutual friends in the 90s, but like in the early 2000s, we became friends to the point where like, well, we should work on something. And instead of doing a band, we decided, let's try making videos. And that's what we did. Started making these videos in Portland, and that turned into the show. But no, she thought of so many of those sketches.
That opening number, musical number.
Yes. The Dream of the 90s is alive in Portland.
Was that?
That's Jonathan Kreisel, our director, co-creator, thought of that. Because that's what it felt like in Portland. You know, the dream of the 90s. And coming from the 90s in a way, I understand. I feel like, sometimes I feel like now, even still, I'm like, oh, the dream of the 90s, you know?
That's funny. I'm trying to go, wait.
Dream of the 90s is like, do the right thing. Come on, you know? Recycle.
Yeah.
You know, even though we all recycle, there's still a sort of like, come on.
And this will work.
And this will work.
Hope.
There's a hope. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, tattoos and piercings feels I know they're not from the 90s, but to me, that's what it, you know. My recollection of the 90s is a lot of bands had stickers. I don't think bands do stickers as much anymore, but you'd see it everywhere. Just band stickers in the bathroom and
bumpers
and, you know, toll booths. You'd see a band sticker. That to me is the most 90s thing is stickers, in my opinion.
Trying to think what I was doing. Clearly didn't stick. Cheers was over, and I was making my way and discovering that not every time you do something, it turns out to be Cheers. But you can have to slog your way through.
But what's funny is when I think of your career,
please do.
I always think you're just one of those guys where it always works out. Like you just like, in my mind, you jump from one big thing to the next.
Let's just go with that.
I can't help it. It's just like, yeah, to dancing, you know, just this and then that and then this and then that and then Billboard and then, you know, I mean it as a compliment.
I'm not that talented, but I'm really nice. I'm a really nice guy to have around the set. And really nice goes a long way. I just, for you, you know, budding actors, just be nice.
I remember you on talk shows in the 80s and the 90s. I remember you on talk shows and you always seemed nice.
Yeah, see?
Always seemed nice. You were a really good talk show guest.
I'm nice.
Yeah, you're nice.
Don't be afraid of bland, never.
Bland and nice just gets you everywhere. we should all wish for that. Although your character on Cheers, I don't think that wasn't bland.
I'm not. But by the way, this false humility thing I do.
No, I know.
That's because I know I'm magnificent. I'm magnificent.
Yes.
Yes.
And very different from all your characters. This person, I think you even have a different accent. When I'm talking to you now, I'm like, oh, he speaks differently. Are you good at memorizing lines?
Yes, I am. I am good at it. It
Do you have
takes
to work
a
at
smidge more the older I get. And for some reason, this is just mean. Sam Malone was the slow, dumb joke. Now, the older I get, it's the speedy, long paragraph joke. And that's not right.
No. Do you ever get tripped up on one word over and over? You're like, why is that word not settling into my head? I'll never understand the dynamics of why that happens. With it,
it's a little bit self-fulfilling, too, because I will say, oh, this is my hard scene. And lo and behold,
that's the hard scene.
It's the hard scene because I said so.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a tough one. Not that many lines, but this is a tough one. And that line's going to be hard. And boom, that's the one that's hard.
This must have happened to you all at Saturday Night Live, where all week long on Cheers, we would rehearse and there was something that we could barely get through. We would be rolling on the ground. It was so funny. Audience comes, here comes the moment, and you could hear a pin drop. And it's like, instead of being horrified, it's the funniest thing because your body is all of a sudden plummeting to earth.
You feel it in your stomach.
Yes.
You're like, Oh, no one thought that this was funny. There were times where a moment like that would happen, total death, total silence, and then we would blame the audience a little. Oh, well, yeah.
Or the mics.
Yeah, the
Stupid
mics
aren't on.
It must be the audience is off or something like that. And then later during SNL, there'd be a sketch that kills. So they were fine. They were present.
Yeah.
It was just that sketch that they were not interested in. It's pretty wild.
Do you know Jimmy Burrows? Ever been? He directed all of the Cheers and Friends and, but he was our director. And one time a joke died and he turned and looked to the audience and said, "Can you hear it? Are the mic's on?" And they went, "No, no." And we turned it on and the joke killed. And it was a week later that I decided to go, "Wait a minute, can you hear us?" "Yeah, we can."
That's the only literal time that it was that the mics were off, that they couldn't hear.
The one when he called it. When I called it, it was, "Oh no, we hear you loud and clear."
We're fine. Wow. God, you guys that's right. You had an audience every single time. Yeah. Mostly I have to work on lines a little bit. It takes me a couple nights to really get it down.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
But I guess that's the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you have a baby.
Yeah.
A 2-year-old, 3-year-old?
3-year-old.
3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like? Mr. Tour with your band anytime you feel like it.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It really makes you relaxed about time.
Yes.
So like yesterday I had a moment where I had a good hour of like really having to occupy his time. And it was the best because what I had to do, the things that I had on my docket didn't matter. And they kind of don't. They'll just be sitting there anyway. So it's almost like time stands still for a moment and it's all about him goofing around. And it's the best. It's actually relaxing. Everything is just like, okay, is he having a good time right now? Right, he's laughing. He's enjoying himself. We're good. It's the best.
Yeah.
And it's the best seeing him figure out new jokes, new ways of doing jokes.
Because he knows you like to laugh?
Because some things will make him laugh. So if I make this thing talk.
Yes.
I mean, to us, and they're going to laugh really hard. Because thank you very much. Thank you.
You have to follow through now, please.
Oh, damn it.
Make it talk.
But I'm saying, so if you make something talk, whatever voice you do. So that concept.
We paid our money.
Damn it. I got to make the lid open. We could, I guess we could do some CGI or AI to make the mouth open.
Yes, because unlimited budget.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Just when I did this before, just add a little. But so that concept, he laughed at it, but today I saw him he did it for the first time. So nice. Like him transferring, that is the best. It's great. It's great.
And he's getting the gift of funny.
Yeah.
You're giving him funny.
Yeah.
That is a gift.
It's also a good time occupier,
yes.
To joke around.
There will be a time, well, maybe not for you because you're a professional. I watch some of my shtick. It does not travel well past 6.
Oh, I bet you're right.
And then they start to go, they're sweet. And you'll get a chortle and eyes darting for, someone else in the room to go talk to, but it's different.
I've heard this and I've heard worse.
Yeah.
Meaning like eyes rolling.
Yeah.
A friend of mine described walking into a room and his kids are teenagers.
Oh.
And he said him walking into the room made his son make a face. He didn't do anything. And his son made a face. He was so like, oh my God, all I did was enter.
Yes. We had that experience with one of our grandkids recently. We come to visit at school with our arms open wide. And it was the worst thing that had ever happened to her, ever.
It's shocking. But now I'm prepared.
You going to bring food or candy? How are you prepared?
I'm going to come in disguise. So I'm going to show up at the school totally as like some other creature. And that'll be, I'm seeing completely disguised.
Yeah.
Like they do in Disneyland or whatever.
If you had, let's pretend you do, and you do anyway, have a mission, a goal in life that's bigger than just yourself. But if you had a North Star that kind of guides you and you go, oops, or I'm on track.
Oh, you mean something that's bigger than career?
Yep. Or something you do with you want to accomplish with your career for the good of, or for other people, or
all I really do whenever something like that comes up, I think of people I admire. So I think, okay, David Byrne is still making new versions of entertainment, and I feel like Steve Martin, the way he's like mixed music with in his life, and performing, I'm like, that's a good way to go. I just look to what those people. I know this sounds very career centric, but I also mean it as far as like making things. I love making things. So that's kind of like that's like a basic North Star, is becoming more and more like people, like my heroes who are still my heroes.
Because of their work they do? Or
yes, and the way that they approach it.
Right.
Which it seems, something about it seems to come from a place of like, I want to keep making things
creative.
And it is for other people.
I want to do that. I don't see you have a different niche. You are a producer, writer, director. You can quibble over if you want, but you're a producer, writer. You are self-starting. You can sit in a room and go, I'm going to create this, and out comes a film or a TV show or or something. And
hopefully, knock on a microphone.
So mine is much more what I can do with other people's work.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Meaning I'm an actor.
Oh, yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
So I depend on really good writing or somebody who, and what I'm discovering recently. Do you know Mike Schur?
Of course, yeah. That guy.
Right, Saturday Night Live. Right. I find him very purposeful.
Yes.
In what he puts out into the world. And he wants it to make it a better place.
Yes.
Or a thoughtful place, or let's have a conversation about what I just did with them, A Man on the Inside. Let's have a conversation about an uncomfortable topic, aging, death, grief, memory loss. Let's have it and be able to laugh and be honest and real. I love that sense of purpose. So that's what I want to kind of hitch my wagon to, that purposeful.
You mean his purposefulness?
Yes, because I'm not writing it. I like to be around people, and it can be silly, it can be stupid, it can be whatever. It doesn't have to be this serious woo-woo thing, but I want it to be purposeful. I want it to make some sort of difference, no matter how modest.
His specifically has a real theme to it.
Yeah.
His recent book, was it How to Be Perfect? How to Be Perfect. He's not just like, hey, I'm going to write comedy and, hope that it's all a hit. He's more like, he has a theme. And I love that.
Would you rather work for yourself in your writing than someone else's, or do you care?
I like both.
Yeah.
Both is great. Because when it's someone else, then it really like, it expands how you think of things. That's what I like about it.
I love. So I'm interrupting. Pardon me.
No, but I'm going to interrupt.
No. Wait. I look at you. First off, you're a really good actor. I've seen you really good acting. You're always, whether you're being funny or not, you're a really good actor. I would love to see you, and this is sounding old and everything, but I would love to see you do leading man, because you're so interesting. And we're used to you being silly or making us laugh or doing characters. Do you ever think about, I should write something for myself or be part of something that is?
Well, that's very nice of you to say. What a
Or do you
what a
have
compliment.
if it's not funny, you don't have a desire? Or
No, it's not that. It's that like whenever I've put myself in something, I always picture it alongside other people, but not
That's fine.
not dead center, but featured enough.
You can be dead center and still be part of.
Yeah, I guess so.
I always used to think I was the tall guy in Cheers.
Right.
Because the stories went every direction and everybody was brilliant.
Yeah. Everybody was. I laughed just now because I just thought of just the idea of Cheers. I remember like watching it and laughing. So dead center. Yeah, I've thought about it a little bit, but there's one idea that I had that I pitched to Tina, and that's Tina Fey, that she liked. So somewhere in there that might work. But it's almost like being having pretend humility.
Yeah.
Where
that's my bailiwick. Can I be in it?
Yeah. Of course. You're too busy. But yes. But it's almost like, I don't know. But then I think when I sit down and start writing stuff, like, yeah, of course, it's fun to be in stuff. But I do like being alongside other people.
Me too. I love ensemble. I wanted to be a basketball player, and it was all about team.
Yeah, it's the best.
I love team.
Love it. Portlandia with Carrie and SNL with all those people. I love it.
Portlandia was hysterical.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. I loved it.
Yeah.
Love getting to do it. We did 8 seasons.
You got something else coming up?
The second season of Wednesday is coming out soon.
God, I love that.
Yeah, so
I forgot. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
No, it's okay.
No, it's great.
But I think over the next couple of months, we're going to start doing some more press stuff for it. So I'm like, I may as well.
You've shot it?
Oh, yeah.
Where? Where did you shoot it?
Ireland.
Oh, my God. But
Can you believe
wonderful.
it?
Yeah, it's perfect, right?
What a life. Like to get
moody, magical place.
Fantastic. I loved it. And yeah, it was in Ireland, and it's all ready to go. I don't know the exact date of it.
Yeah.
I think they purposefully don't tell me.
On
this year.
On what
Netflix.
streaming? Netflix. God bless Netflix.
God bless them.
Thank you, man. I really love the tradition of comedy that you come from, and you're so good at it.
I appreciate it. And I feel the same about you. Everyone does.
I am a natural sycophant kiss ass, but I actually
I don't
do
think
mean
you
this.
are. See, I don't
but
think you are.
I do mean this.
I could tell when people are, and I don't think that's what you are. Yeah. I think that in my experience, this version of Ted that you're getting, I think this is like the same experience I have when I see you out in the world. So FYI, that's the real thing.
Much respect. Thanks. This episode is brought to you by Apple Pay. Thanks for listening.